class, and welcome to today's lesson on section 6.4, which is about proportional and non-proportional relationships. Proportional relationships are two quantities that have a constant rate between them. When you put them on a graph, they form a straight line that goes through 0, 0, or the origin point. We'll talk about what this constant part means in a moment. Non-proportional relationships are again two quantities, but these do not have a constant ratio between them. Again, if you put it on the graph, it's going to form a straight line, but it's not going to go through that origin point 0, 0. The equation that we use for proportional relationships is y equals kx. So our y values is equal to some number times x. The constant of proportionality, this k piece, is that constant ratio, or that constant rate from the definition, between the x and the y. We'll go over how to find that momentarily. So looking first at this problem right here, we're going to see if the rates are proportional. So we have two different scenarios we're going to look at. First, we're going to look at Tom, then we're going to look at Jenna. So if we're looking at Tom, we're looking at the values 1, 3, 2, 6, 3, 9, 4, 12, and 15, 5. So that's the table for Tom. If we're looking, we have our top values are minutes. Those are going to be our x values. And our y values, the number of laps, are on the bottom. In order to decide if it is proportional, you need to compare y to x. So we're going to take our y value, the first one, which is 3, and we're going to divide by x, giving us 3. Then we're going to take the second one, divide, which gives us 3. Then our third pair, 9 divided by 3 is 3, 12 divided by 4 is 3, and finally 15 divided by 5 is also 3. So we would say that Tom's relationship is proportional. It's a direct relationship between how much time he's spent and how many laps he's done. The constant value would be 3, taking our y and dividing by our x's. For each of those values, we get an answer of 3. Looking then at Jenna's equation from the table, we've got her at our first point of, for 1 minute, she has 4 laps. For her second minute, she's got 6. Third minute is 8. Fourth is 10. And fifth is 12. Again, our minutes are x, and our values down below are y. Again, we want to see if there is a proportional relationship, so we are going to take our x value, we're going to take our y value of 4 and divide by 1, giving us an answer of 4. Then we're going to take our second y value, which is 6, and divide by 2, giving us 3. As you can see, 4 and 3 are not the same number, so Jenna's shows a non-proportional relationship. And you would want to explain there is no constant, because 4 and 3 are not the same number. So it's non-proportional because there is no constant between x and y. So looking at these two tables, I want you to take a minute and try those on your own. This first one, if I did 8 divided by 1, I'm going to get 8. Then we've got 16 divided by 2, which is 8. 24 divided by 3 is 8. And finally 32 divided by 4 is 8. So this is a proportional relationship. Our k value is 8, which means if I was going to write the equation for this table, it would say y is equal to kx. In this case, our k value is 8. So what it's saying is if I do 8 times 1, I get 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. So this equation describes the table, and this is our constant of proportionality. If you're looking at the second one, we've got 6 divided by 1, which is 6, and 14 divided by 2, which is 7. So this shows a non-proportional relationship. Because it's non-proportional, we are not going to write an equation for that. That's something we're going to get into next year in algebra. Looking at proportional rates, we can also use information to fill in a table. So it says the rides at an amusement park cost $1.50 per ride. So it wants us to go ahead and fill in the table. First thing you're going to want to do is write out an equation. This 150 is K. The reason you can tell that is by the word per. Per is going to indicate to you that constant of proportionality. So your equation is going to be y equals 1.50x. If you didn't put the 0, that's fine, but because it's a money value, we include it. So the cost of going on one ride is $1.50. The cost of going on a second ride would be 1.5 times 2, which is going to give us $3. Again, you should have the 2 decimal places because it's money. Then we're going to do 1.5 times 3, which is $4.50. 1.5 times 4, which is $6. And 1.5 times 5, which gives you $7.50. So we wrote out our equation and then used it to complete the table. The other thing that we can do, yes, everyone, you can get very excited while you're watching this video. I know, it's a word problem. Get super pumped. So we can take our word problems and turn those into an equation and then use those equations to solve the question. Notice, it says write an equation relating to the cost. Then it asks you the question. There are 2 parts that I will be looking for on the homework and 2 parts that I will be looking for on the test. You need to have an equation written, so y equals kx. That needs to show up. And then you need to solve the problem. So the first part says the cost for 2.5 pounds of meat is $7.20. So we want to think about which one is going to be our x and which one is going to be our y. Money, if they ever give you that, is always going to be a y value. And time, if they ever give you that, is always going to be an x value. So right now I have my x is 2.5 pounds and my y is $7.20. Just like we did with the other tables before when there were more values, to find our constant of proportionality, we're going to take our y and we are going to divide by our x value, which is going to give us an answer of $2.88. So what that means is it's $2.88 for each pound of meat. So step 1 then is to write out our equation, which is going to say y equals 2.8x. This needs to be written on your paper, both on the homework and on the test. If it asks for an equation, you need an equation that says y equals a number times x. Then part 2 is going to be actually solving the problem. So we're going to plug in, instead of x, we're now looking for 4 pounds of meat. That's our new x value. So I've got y is equal to 2.88 times 4. And when I do that, I end up with an answer of y equals $11.52. Again, because it's a word problem, you need to make sure you include that label. And this would be the answer to part 2 of that problem. Go ahead and pause your video and try this one on your own. So what you should have done is, again, make your nice little X, Y table. It's talking about gallons and money. As I said on the last slide, money is always a Y value, which means your 13 gallons is your X value. So then in order to find our K, we're going to set it up so that we have our Y divided by our x, giving me an answer of $3.19. So what that means is it's $3.19 per gallon. Again, making sure, step 1, you write out that equation. Y equals a number times x. So that's the first part of the answer. And then for the second part of our answer, it asks us to find out how much will 18.5 gallons cost. So we're going to plug it in and say y is equal to 319 times 18.5, which gives us an answer of $59.02. The original answer is 59.015, making sure because the 5 tells us to round up. We round up to 2 with 2 decimal places, and we have our unit on there. If you have questions about the lesson, feel free to talk to each other during work time. The assignment is posted on Google Classroom.